6:49 now. You know, when it's as cold as it is outside right now, hypothermia is always a risk. Diane Atwood, who writes the blog Catching Health, is here to tell us why some people are at risk even if they don't go outside, Diane?
That's right, that's right. But let's begin by defining hypothermia. Okay. It's when the core body temperature gets below 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and it happens if the body loses heat faster than it can be produced. And hypothermia can kill you. The risk increases with age, especially after age 75.
Because your body just can't make the heat as efficiently?
Right. There are a lot of reasons, which excuse me, I will get into. Now, first of all, oil may be cheaper now, but there's a lot of people who still struggle to pay for food and clothing and medicine. Yeah. And when you consider elderly people, many of them are in fixed incomes, and they may decide to cut back on medicines, one thing we know, but also heat, which puts them at risk. But when it comes to preventing hypothermia in older people who may be in the house all the time, there are several risk factors that make them even more vulnerable. And so I've got a few for you.
Okay.
All right, why elderly people are at risk? Well, their metabolism is slower, which makes it harder to maintain a normal body temperature, as you said, if the room temperature gets below about 65 degrees. Elderly people are more likely to have chronic medical conditions such as diabetes or an underactive thyroid, and they're more likely to take medications that may change how the body regulates temperature.
Okay, so lots of things kind of working against them.
Right. It happens to us as we age. But our bodies are actually pretty amazing when you think about it. So think about it. It's like we've got a thermostat inside of us. And if we're too hot, what do? We sweat to be cool. And if we're too cold, we shiver to stay warm. But the trouble is, as we age, we don't shiver as much as we did when we were younger. Now, something else that I've noticed is when I go to visit my mother, who's 88, she usually has the thermostat cranked to about 80.
Yeah.
Now, I could be exaggerating. There's my mom.
Oh,
Isn't she
lovely.
beautiful?
She's absolutely beautiful.
Yes, yes. We had a family, kind of like a glamour shot, and yes,
nice
she is
photo.
Beautiful. All right, so now I've lost my train of thought, and I want to get back to...
you mentioned that she keeps the thermostat fairly high.
Yes, but what happens is that really when we're young, you know, what we think is too warm may not be warm enough for an elderly person. So ideally, their thermostat should be set between 68 and 70, because even lower, it can be, you know,
a problem.
Yeah. So take-home message for all of us. If you know of an older person who lives alone or you think may be at risk, check in, make sure he or she is okay. And if you go to catchinghealth.com, you will find some hypothermia warning signs, what to do if you suspect it, and some prevention tips.
And be sensitive to these things if you have an older person living with you who may be home alone during the day while you're working, I would think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for all of us, dress in layers, inside if you have to, or outside.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks,
Okay.
Diane, very much.